Thank you for joining us. This will be the first of a few short videos on assembling your mini nest kitchen. When you receive your kit, you'll have these two larger pieces, the front and back, as well as the doors, and then the stack of other wood. Some of these we won't need at the moment. This is the shelf. We can set this aside. And the larger of the two faces the square one without the notch. We're just going to set this aside for a moment. We're going to start with the side. This would face the outside of the van. You open the sliding door and this is where the water jug goes. So we're going to start with this piece. We're going to start with the two largest sides. Now you can see these sides have a groove that match up on the bottom. One of them has a groove on the other side. That, you know that this one, that's the one that goes in the middle because it lines up with the groove at the bottom and the groove for the water jugs. Okay, so you just set this in there. And when it's flush on the bottom, it'll be flush, it'll line up with the grooves on the side. Okay, and then this other side, there's no groove on the exterior, so that would go inside. So you can see with the side pieces in, there's no groove on this side. On the inside, this groove matches, that groove matches, and then on the side with a water jug, there's a groove much higher, and it lines up with that groove on the face. Okay? Now, the next piece that goes in is the bottom, the floor of the kitchen. Now, the orientation of this is really important. This is a template that we use that shows the anchor point for all the different makes and models of vans that we use. So you can tell, you know, if you're using this hole, if you flip it, it makes a huge difference. And if it's not in the right orientation, you won't be able to attach it to your van. So we have marked the floor with a black dot on the corner of the board, as well as in the groove of this side. So if you just line up black dot to black dot, when you put these together, and you start by using the side with a notch, then everything will just line up perfectly fine. The next piece is the top. That just fits in up here. Again, everything just fits in the groove. Okay, everything's getting held together. Now we are going to put the other piece, set it right on top here. And I'd like to just line up the grooves, line up the two sides with the grooves on the bottom here, because I can see them, see that the pieces are in the grooves. And if they're lined up there, then everything else just falls into place. Now, everything's where it should be. It's very secure. Now we just need to go ahead and put screws through all the pre-drilled holes. Okay? Your kit comes with all the hardware that you need. So just, like I said, go around and insert all the screws. To do this, you will need either a cordless or a corded drill. You don't want to try to put all these in by hand. So again, just work your way around, make sure everything is seated in the groove when you screw it in. Now, one other piece is the shelf. That just slides into the groove here and the corresponding groove at the top. And then when it's flushed, you put in the screw up here. Okay, now we are going to flip the whole thing over, put in all the screws on the other side. One thing to remember, this up part of the cabinet is just resting into these grooves. So if I just picked it up from here, it would separate. So you got to hold them together when you flip it. Okay. Everything's still together. Now we do the same. Take the screws and go all the way around. Okay. One thing I wanted to point out, you're going to want to give everything here a quick sand before you paint it or stain it or whatever it is you can do, which we'll touch on in our next video. But it's good to give everything a sanding before you assemble your cabinet, because it's a lot easier to sand a flat panel like this when it's sitting on the table as opposed to when it's inside the cabinet here. It's hard to get your sander or even your hand inside of there. So before you put all the screws in and assemble this, give everything just a quick sand. And then when you assemble it, it just saves you a lot of time. Now, you still have to sand the outside and some other areas, but it makes working on the inside a lot easier. Okay, that's it. Put your cabinet together. Like I said, it just took a couple minutes. And at this point, it is very secure. You'll have a few more screws to put in. You'll see on the top of the kitchen, there are 4 screws to secure the top. There are 2 screws on the side here, top and bottom. That secures the bottom shelf. And then there's 2 holes on the inside, there and there, to hold the water jug shelf in. So the same thing, same screws, just go right inside the holes. Like that. Just go around, put in those other 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 screws, and your cabinet will be completely assembled. So on our next video, we'll go over how to finish your cabinet, and then finally we'll have a video on just assembling all the parts and getting it into your van. Okay? Thanks for watching.